Hey guys, today we're gonna fight an Uragaan with a longsword. Now the longsword I'm actually using is the Barbarian Longsword Plus. Unfortunately it is a high rank weapon, but only just a hand rank 4-1. So if you don't have it, I recommend getting its first version, the Barbarian Longsword. Although, if I just check my notes quickly, the Barbarian Longsword requires a sword codex, which I actually think you get after doing a certain urgent, and it might not be until after you've actually fought the Uragaan, in which case I recommend getting the Frozen Blade Icicle, which, even though ice doesn't do as much to him as water, is much better than the Roller Droth alternative you have at this point in the game. Yeah, for that you need some Ischium, some Dragonite ore, and a Frost Sack or two. So just go kill a Barrioth or two, and you should be able to get those quite easily. Oh yeah, by the way, for those wanting to make the Barbarian Longsword at any point in the game, or the Shark Lance, which those of you from Tri might remember, require shark skin. Now, since there's no underwater combat in this game, you might be thinking, how are there sharks? Well, the answer is there isn't. This item is actually impossible to get in the game, from what I know, unless you send your cats out to do some quests in the deserted island. I got most of mine from doing the 2-star Kurapeka, but I have also got some from the 3-star Rathalos. I recommend just doing the 2-star Kurapeka because it's half the points for the number of cats. Now, oh yeah, by the way, as you can probably tell by now, I'm using full Rathalos armor just for the attack up and Stinger. And now onto the topic at hand, the Uragaan. His weak spot is the little, what should I call it? The little bump just under his tail behind his legs. So generally, most of your attacks should be coordinated around there. Now, when he digs in Area 6, he will either go up onto that plateau up there, or onto one of those ones on the right. Sorry about that. There's 2 plateaus on the right he can go to. And after doing that long charge attack, he will just stand there and do nothing for a second. His super pound that you saw there is very damaging. Make sure you don't get hit by it because it will do a lot of damage. And it also has a tremor effect. So if you're within a certain radius, I think if you're standing by his weak spot, the little bump, it will actually get you. And you will just stumble around for around 2 seconds or so. Generally, I run around to where the tail is and then come back and attack. Unfortunately, he got me just before I got that roundhouse off. That's okay. In terms of actual elements, if you somehow have a dragon weapon, that could be a good alternative. Because generally, dragon weapons in this game have very good roll. And I think he's weakest to dragon after water, and then it's ice. But he's still weak enough to ice for that to be a very good alternative. For those who are wondering, by the way, the Barbarian Longsword Plus, the reason it's high rank is it requires 2 Wyvern Stones, which you can get from fighting people like Barrioth. I've actually got a few from Rathalos before. And also some more shark skins and some ancient fish. Now, ancient fish is another thing I think you can only get through the farm. You get it as a fairly rare drop from your fishing basket, which the cats do again. And So it seems there's always an item in your farm which can only be get through your cats. By the way, that was a tail break back there with the Uragaan. After you get a break, you can actually cut it. Although, if someone can tell me, can you break it with impact weapons? And can you cut it with impact weapons? Or can you only break it with impact weapons? So yeah, just back on the little farm point. Like I said, for the fishing basket, you've got ancient fish. For the what's it called? The seesaw, you've got great swallowtails. And for the I keep forgetting them now. For the mining spot, you've got what are called rainbow crystals, and I have not actually seen a use for those, so I just sell them because you get a decent amount of zenny for them. And for the quests, you've got shark fins, and also these things called rust pieces, which look exactly like rust shards. And I think you can make an armour out of them, but I haven't made it or tried it out yet. I should really be talking about Uragaan more. Sorry. But yeah, generally just copy what I'm doing. Attack in the general tail or knobbly thing area for any weapon. If you're using a hammer with an element on it, then you could always just try and knock the chin a little to break it. And as you can see, he's already limping. Yeah, because this weapon is actually quite overpowered for him, I have to say. If you are going to farm him, then I recommend fighting Diablos first, and then upgrading the roller drop weapons. The only problem with them is you have to sharpen them a lot of the time. But they do have some of the best raw in the game. And very good element in some cases as well. Like the hammer has very good element, especially in its higher upgrades. So yeah, there's not much to say about him. For those of you who've seen my Dobo video, is reasonably similar to him. Dobo was based off Uragaan. Like he's got tail attacks and stuff. So yeah, he has some very cool looking weapons as well. His longsword is quite a unique one because it's actually for those of you who are musically knowledgeable, his longsword looks like a tuning fork in that it's two prongs, and the scabbard actually just fits in between those, so the blade is actually always exposed. Looks quite cool. The only problem with a lot of his weapons are they do not have much sharpness, or in some cases like his switch axe, which is also partly the barrel switch axe, they have fairly bad affinity. Yeah, I think the highest switch axe has like -25. So yeah, very quick kill with level appropriate weapon, and well, it is level appropriate armor. You should still be able to get him in under 10 minutes very easily. Longsword's not the best choice in my opinion, but it's a decent one. And that's it guys. See ya and have a good hunt.